Hey guys, this is DFD, aka Dark Frozen Depths, back with another Kamihime project video. This is going to redo one of my past videos, so we've got some new stuff, and then I, I'm able to look at the wiki a little bit better, so that's the whole thing with that. But yeah, this is pretty much going to cover quite a few things to really look out for. Not just, well, I've already did Kamihime, so if you want that, there's another video for that one, just to look out for what they do and don't do. But this is more going to cover weapons, accessories, and Eidolons. So that's the whole thing with that. And then don't worry, guys. I'm going to eventually do a video on how to level accessories as well because I've mentioned it a few times before. I'm going to get around to doing it. But first things first. If you've logged into the game lately, you'll notice that there's now a fire boosted gacha. Anybody that's aiming for a fire team should probably try to do it, but you may want to save up some of your resources because it does use magic jewels as well as star coins, so that's something to know. But that will help you out with the upcoming event since it's going to be a wind enemy. But that's the whole thing with that. It's only open for a few days too, so if you're planning on doing any fire boosted stuff, now's your time. So that's the whole thing with that. Now, as you've noticed, I have a rating right here that says 58,042. Now, that's the first thing I'm going to go into, that rating. That's pretty much it. I wouldn't even call it your attack rating. It's pretty much your power rating. So what that is, they take the sum of all this stuff in your party, like the entire thing. So you see their attack and their HP, they combine that, soul included, and then divide that by 7 because there's 7 slots. So that's pretty much the average number out of all of that. It's your HP and your attack. So given that all my characters are hovering around like say 7,000 to 9,000 HP, then I would have to pretty much remove that number off of there, and that's like the average amount of attack power I have. Now, this is a good estimate on how strong you can be, but it's not going to show everything. What really boosts your power, the main Eidolon you have set, maybe even some of the sub Eidolons too, but more importantly, the weapons and weapon skills, and for the characters, the accessories they have. I'm not going to click into those. But also another interesting little thing is the fact that the souls can also have another boost as well, which is the mastery point system, and that's how Herc has gotten quite strong. I'm going to actually redo some of her stuff too, because I noticed that since ability damage has a higher damage cap when you use it, I'm actually planning on swapping her HP for ability damage because she gets a lot of HP anyway. But that's the whole thing with that. And then on top of it, like the weapons is the bulk of your power, like hands down, because of the skills that you equip on there and everything. So that's something to know. And then if you're really trying to min-max power, plus 99 all your Eidolons, plus 99 all the weapons in your grid. Once you do all this for your weapons and every single party formation you have, then you might want to go putting those plus weapons on characters. You can't do it with souls, but you can do it for all these characters. Because honestly, I could have plus 99 all 6 of these Kamihime by now, if I just focused on nothing but them. But it's better to do it on the weapons so the whole team gets it. But when you finally get enough plus weapons and plus Eidolons, you'll have all 10 of these plus 99. You'll have all 6 of these plus 99. I'm getting pretty close with that. And then all 6 of these Kamihime is going to be plus 99. The soul's got its own thing. And that can indeed increase your power quite a lot. Because it's, for each plus value, it's 1 HP and 3 attack. So from weapons alone, that is almost 1,000 HP. Because you're getting close to 100 HP added to each weapon. That is almost 1,000 HP and almost 3,000 in attack power. At Eidolons, it's the same thing, only it's going to be out of 6 of these, so it's about 600 HP and 1,800 attack power. And this is added to everybody. But then they also get their own amount as well, so it'll be like another 100 to each Kamihime and another 300 attack added as well. That gives you a massive grand total of almost 5,000 attack. I'm not even going to cover the HP because HP will come naturally anyways. But attack is a main thing of if you want to do more damage, so that's something to know about. Because everything is going to factor in off of that. Like your defenders is going to factor in off your HP. Sometimes the HP you have remaining will affect how good your pride and vigor effects are, or how much ability damage you can dish off with some skills, that type of stuff. But this is just a quick little glance of all that type of stuff. I've powered these guys up pretty nicely, but they still got some room to grow because their accessories aren't maxed out. And who's to say I can't get better weapons down the line? I know for a fact this one right here, which I'm now putting more plus value on, this weapon right here will end up getting 3 weapon skills. Now what I mean by that is this. Each weapon comes with a skill as long as it's at R rarity or higher and not an enhancement material. So that's something to know. Now when it comes to how many skills a weapon has still depends. You will never find 3 skills on an SR. So keep that in mind. And technically you don't find 3 skills on any weapon, but here's what I mean by that. This weapon right here, which will go more into skills later, it comes with Assault and Defender. That's 2 skills. What's going to happen is when I'm able to final break limit this in order to increase its power and its maximum skill cap, these 2 skills will merge into 1 skill. So it's still pretty much 2 effects, 1 skill, and it will get a 3rd effect, which I do believe is going to be a pride effect. So that's what I mean by triple effect weapon. It's not necessarily triple skill, but it's triple effect. That means you get 3 effects in 1 weapon. So it'll be medium assault, medium defender, and I think a medium pride to go with it. So that's a lot of stuff. Now, before we even get into any of the skills and whatnot, which I'm going to go on a different page, you have to do the gacha and go do your gem pools, or if you pay money, you can go into any of the other gachas and get R weapons. That's how you really try to get the bulk of this stuff. I've already done my pulls for today, so I can't go in there. It's just going to send me right back out. But it doesn't take that many gems now. It's like 15,000 gems, somewhere around that mark. And you can easily get that much just by doing the daily gem quests in the SP menu, which is like right here. But that's the whole thing. Spam the crap out of it. You see I've stockpiled a massive amount of R weapons. If I really sit back and take the time to level some stuff, it will help me out. Because I can definitely build up other teams off of this. I'm still trying to work on Fire, which is my secondary, and has 100% out Eidolon. Which leads to the other thing, too. The Eidolons. They get different effects depending on which one it is, and then you have to set it as a main to get the main effect. So, for instance, I have St. Nicholas right here, and she gives a very interesting little effect, which is light attack 45%. Now, for those of you that don't know, light attack means elemental attack. So, elemental attack towards light element is going up by 45%. Character attack acts like assault, which you would see from weapons. So, there's a little bit of differentiating there. This, combined with one of my weapons, gives me a total of 75% light attack on my own. I can get a friend that I don't want to help me out with that too. So if I did manage to arrange my slots and whatnot to get the best Monog armor effect, that would be another 120% added to my 45% here and my 30% for my weapon. So I got almost 200% elemental attack if I ever set it up like that. But that's the whole thing. Elemental attack is in its own little multiplier. Character attack and would factor in with stuff like assault and pride, and it will be in its own multiplier. Vigor is in its own multiplier. Sneak attack, which is critical, is in its own multiplier. We'll get special as well. It's in its own multiplier. Those all combine and make lots of different ways to increase your damage. Now, like I said, we're going to go into the actual weapon effects now. So that's why I have this link saved here. It's going to take me straight to it. And this is where things you have to start paying attention to, because I'm going to break down some of the effects and then other things that can help you out. Now, right off the bat, I don't even need to look at them to explain them. Assault pretty much is character attack. And in a sense, you can say it's increasing your attack value, but there's way more complicated to the formula than that. But assault necessarily just boosts how much damage you do. Period. It does it in its own multiplier, but it boosts how much damage you do. Defender boosts the HP you have. That's straightforward. So if you have 100% defender, double HP. I have that on that grid. That's where their health is actually so high in game, because the one thing I forgot to mention, the HP you see on that screen that shows your characters is their base HP. It's not their official HP. Once the defender effects and all that kick in, then you'll see it in game. So really, the ones that had like 7,000, 8,000 HP, that's like 14,000 or 16,000 in the actual game. So yeah. But Pride works like Assault, but there's a catch. It gives you a fixed value increase, which is just a flat amount. Generally, with Pride weapons, if you get them to skill level 20, because most of them end up being large, you'll get 10% added to Assault at all times. And then, based on your HP, which is unaffected by how much you skill level this thing, but based on your HP, you will get even more, which fluctuates anywhere between nothing if you have full HP, or if you're down to like 5% of your health remaining. So say you have 10,000 HP, you got roughly about 500, like 100 to 500 or something like that. Then you'll get 19% more Pride, which will add 19% to Assault. So you're really getting 29% at that time. Pride weapons can be good, but the thing is, it still depends on your HP. I personally don't really like using Pride weapons, but I do admit they are quite strong if you can make them work for you. Because generally, Assault, say you get a final break limit weapon that can go up to skill level 30. The best Assault value you'll get is 21%. That still does not go past the best Pride weapon for a large Pride at skill level 20, in fact. Because a level 20 Pride weapon can still get 29%, which is still more than the 21% Assault that it can get at skill level 30. So if you're following that, Pride is already shooting way past Assault. I think the best you can get for Pride is almost around 35%. So, but again, your HP has to be very low for that to happen. So, if you want my honest opinion, Pride is preference. Because, again, it fluctuates. In a longer fight, Pride tends to shine. Because, of course, you're not going to be able to keep your HP up the entire time. But in the really short fights, Pride is near to almost useless, because it'll just give you a flat increase, which is generally about as much as a small Assault, which you can get from a simple R weapon. So, again, it's up to you. Now, these other effects is where it starts getting very, very interesting. Now, there's a massive, massive amount of effects that's on this board. There's some special ones that combine them, and there's some special ones that have in its own thing. Now, here's what these are. We've went over Assault, Defender, and Pride. Rush increases the chances of you doing 2 hits with a normal attack, round of normal attacks. So, say you have roughly a 5% chance of getting 2 hits off, then Rush would increase it a little bit more based on skill level, generally about maybe another 1 to 5%, so you got a 10% chance. And it's a permanent increase as well, as long as that weapon's on the grid, so keep that in mind. Barrage is even better, but it has a lower rate. It's 3 hits, so it's a chance of triple attack. And that's very good, to be quite honest, except for the fact that Barrage doesn't increase that much anyway. I think a large Barrage only adds about 1 or 2%. So, yeah, your chances are kind of low with it, but hey, it's still pretty good, though, because you want more triple attack, you want more double attack. These are things you might want to consider in weapons that come with 2 effects. Something else that you might want to consider in weapons that come with 2 effects. Burst performance up. This increases the amount of burst damage you can dish out. So, burst damage has like a little bit of a hard cap. This increases said hard cap, and I do believe it also increases the amount of burst damage you can do. I know for a fact it increases the hard cap, so that's something to remember. Ascension. Recovery performance up. What that means is all your healing skills will start healing more. They have a higher healing cap. So, for instance, say you have Soul who heals like 1800 HP if you have awakened her or something like that. Put an Ascension weapon in, and it gives a 10% increase or something like that, and she's suddenly healing like about 1900 or 2000, something like that. So yeah, that's what I mean by Ascension. It's a little straightforward too. Now, Vigorous. It's the same thing as Pride, but there's 2 catches. First off, it does indeed give a flat. I don't know for sure if it gives a flat rate, but there's a reason why you still want Vigor anyway. But Vigor works opposite of Pride. Anywhere between full HP and 50% of it. Well, 51%. It will increase how much damage you do. But the catch is this: the higher your HP, the more increase you get. So at the start of a fight, you're getting full Vigor. So short battles definitely benefit off of this very nicely. But here's the other catch: Vigor does not add to Assault. It's in its own multiplier. So say you have your Assault value of 200 and you have 200% elemental attack between your stuff and the friend add-on. Well, that would be pretty much a 3.0 times a 3.0. Now, toss in a 50% Vigor. That's now a 3.0 times a 3.0 times a 1.5. But if you toss in a Pride instead, it would say you got a 15% Pride that had no effect, no additional effect. That 3.0 times 3.0 would just turn into a 3.15 times 3.0. Now you see the difference. But Vigor is in its own frame. It really helps. Elaborate. This one is weird because it's up in the air if you really want to be honest. Even with my personal opinion, it does increase the ability damage, and like I said, with Burst, it has a cap. Burst and Healing has caps as well, like hard caps. Elaborate increases the ability damage cap, but ability damage usually isn't looked at too much because remember your abilities have cooldowns. It definitely helps if you have Kamihime that have very short ability cooldowns, like say Sevarog, who could nuke every 3 turns. But that's the whole thing with it. It's up in the air. It can help as a secondary ability, believe me, but that's the whole thing with that. The only reason I'm trying to get an ability damage increase for her is the fact that she hits hard as hell, and then it would help her hit even harder whenever she nukes, because that's when I intend on using her skill anyway. When she's all buffed up, does a huge hit, which already can crack like 1.2 million. So yeah. Now technical, this is the first time I've seen this because I haven't been here in a while. But assuming how normal attacks also work as well, given how I've been playing around with Herc's self buff that stacks, this is going to increase your normal attack damage up. And it's hard cap. Because it happens to have a hard cap too, apparently. So what that means is all your normal hits are going to go up. Not the other stuff, not stuff like abilities or burst or anything like that. Your normal hits are going to go up. And combining this with Rush or Barrage might actually be pretty nice. But again, it's still just normal hits. Now, it may have a nice amount of worth because keep this in mind. When you're not doing bursts, when you're not doing ability damage, you are always doing normal hits. So, it may or may not be worth it. It's up to you. Now then, we're getting into some interesting stuff. Spirit. This gives you elemental attack up. and it always generally comes around to 30% if you can get it all the way up. That might change though, because I'm hearing the DMM side's going to get final breaks for soul weapons, because that's the only way you're going to get these elemental attacks as far as I know. So if you want the spirit effect, go do the ultimate raids that you see with the catastrophe fights. Get their materials. You'll be able to make a spirit weapon of your choice for any element as long as you got the stuff. So that's something to know. In my case, I have Herc's Light Axe, which will give me 30% elemental attack for that for light characters. So that's how you do that. Temperament, pretty much Defender, only is a 30% increase at all times. Good to know. Carnage, I think that would be about a 30% assault. I don't know for sure, but it's definitely a very nice boost in it. So Carnage, if you can find it, very good to look for. Now Tri-Edge is one of the first ones you'll see to have a mixed effect. This one's going to mix Assault and Barrage. And what that is going to pretty much increase your attack power along with your chances of doing triple attack at the same time. So all these ones, I'll just keep going through them. There's apparently it says Slug, but I don't know if that's the official name. It's Assault plus Stinger, so it's attack power and your critical rate. Because I forgot to mention, Stinger is a weird one. It's got a chance of actually doing extra damage, but each Stinger weapon, it has its own little trigger. So one might trigger and you get, say, a 20% damage increase, or both of them might trigger and it's like 20% plus 20%. So the more Stinger you have, the more effective it can get, but it's weird. It's just weird like that. But anyways, Slug is apparently Assault plus Stinger. Now Strength. This is the one I mentioned that book will get. It's going to be Assault and Defender mixed. So that's something to know. When it comes to your basic increases, Assault and Defender is a very good combo. So keep that in mind. Grace. This looks like a very good defensive type thing because it's going to increase your HP and it's going to get the Ascension effect, which is increasing your healing amount. So that's pretty good. Another one that might also be interesting is this Lampert one, because it's Defender plus Vigorous. Remember, Vigor gets more increased the more HP you currently have. So if you have a higher max amount, it's harder to lower that, because it's easier to lose your Vigor effect when you have, say, 5,000 HP compared to 8,000. So keep that in mind. Protect, it seems like it's going to be the same thing as Temperament, only it looks like it's going to be on normal weapons, so I don't know for sure. Avalanche is going to be an interesting one if we ever get around to it. That's going to be Rush plus Barrage. What that means is going to increase your double and triple rate at the same time. So that's very interesting. Tactics is Exceed and Elaborate, so your burst and your ability damage caps are going to increase, and the damage you do with them. Tri-Guard is going to be a Defender plus Barrage. This is also a very good combo as well. Defender with anything offensive that flies across the board will probably work. But Resilience is going to be Assault plus Ascension. So you deal more damage and heal more. Simple. Twin Edge is going to be pretty much the Assault plus Barrage, only it's Rush instead. So it's double attack rate. Now, a lot of people, like, not a lot of people, but there are some people that say double attack is, you should overlook double attack and go for triple. I can kind of agree with this, but keep this in mind that double attack is a lot easier to trigger because it's got higher rates. So unless you're using a character that guarantees like something like Saiba always guarantees double attack, then double attack can help you out. It really can. Remember, with double attack triggering every single time, you will indeed get your burst gauge filled up in 5 turns. If you somehow get triple attack to do that, without any other burst help or whatever, it will do it in 4. So, yeah. The more hits you can get off in a combo, the better, because it's more damage, faster burst fill, which leads to even more damage off of that. But, anyways, Twin Guard, it's, Defender plus Rush. I don't know what the Sword T is, but it's Defender plus Pride. This is also a very good combo, because remember, Pride works like Assault, but it fluctuates a little bit. So keep that in mind. Transcend also looks like an interesting combo as well because it's Assault plus Exceed. Now, a lot of higher damage comes from your burst because burst damage gets its own multiplier in a certain frame of the damage formula. So that means that you're increasing your output along with the burst damage you do, which will increase even further. So your normal damage is going up along with your burst damage getting even bigger boosts. Now, the Sprout is Ascension plus Vigor. This is also a good combo because here's the thing. Vigor, once again, works better when your HP's higher. Ascension gives you more healing. So with the right Kamihime, this can send you right back up to that 100% HP mark you want for the most Vigor boost. Or even get you pretty close to it pretty fast. Now, Defender plus Stinger. This is an awkward combo, but it could work. As long as it comes with something else. I don't know what this park up means. The translations are getting kind of weird at this point. But Defender plus Stinger, honestly, if it comes with another skill, then I would say it's worth it. But otherwise, I can't really say that. Because you can always get your Defender with something else that was probably better than just the random chance Stinger. But, hey, to each their own. Like I said, I won't stop somebody from using it. But, this last one is Defender plus Technical. And it's a weird combo, too. Because this is a normal attack damage going up instead of just raw attack power. But, hey, it's okay, too. I guess. But, this even goes into different amounts that increase it so much. But, this is something that others can check out on their own. I'll leave a link to the wiki in the pinned comment. But this gives raw values and all this type of stuff for these. It's weird, but it works. And then it's got stuff that's only for the souls. But yeah. And then there's also phantom weapons that pop up as well. This is what these are going to end up doing for effects. So keep that in mind. Now, what it's going to do is going to have these right here. If you happen to get a phantom weapon, it can help you out. But the ones that are definitely giving you assault can be very, very, very interesting. Quite frankly, I would try to keep 2 copies of the weapon if it ends up being anything but, from what I'm seeing, the gun. Well, the cane can actually help. The gun, and actually all of them would work with double. Except for the gun, unless you're like really HP happy. But yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I would try to keep 2 of them together. So say you get the same one twice, like say you're doing and these come from the Ragnarok fights too, so keep that in mind. It's at a low chance, but they come from the Ragnarok fights. So say you get drops and then you eventually get 2 swords. So this might increase your rush twice and your barrage twice if you have them both on instead of trying to fuse them into one. This is something I'm still trying to confirm. I have a theory about this because you will clear as day see it if you end up getting 2 hammers or 2 guns. So, like I said, it might be worth holding on to more than 1 copy if it happens. So keep that in mind. If you're grinding for the Magna Cavises, which can increase the amount of accessory slots that Kamihime can have, then yeah, you're probably going to find one of these weapons. I know someone that's got about a good 6 or 7 of these, but they don't have any matching ones. So that's something to remember. And also, I forgot to mention too, with these ones are weird because these phantom weapons, you have to have weapon types that match it. At least far as I know, at least 6. So more than half of your grid has to match that thing. So if you really want to be honest, you have to have half a grid of swords and then toss in a phantom weapon in a 6th slot, and you've got it. So yeah, that's just how that is. But anyways, the next thing I should cover is probably, I'm not even going to cover Eidolon effects. Well, actually I could, because there's quite a few effects, but no, this is enhancement materials. I don't want that. I'm trying to find where that page is. Actually, bear with me for a second. Yeah, I think this is a summon performance list. Okay. The effects are like, there's not as many as weapons, but there's still a nice amount of them. So what the effects more or less do, okay, it really didn't go into too much detail. What the effects more or less do will sip and do things that the weapons as well, but to an extent, like these dragoons, they'll increase the recovery power, but they won't increase the recovery cap. So that's something to know. So putting them in the main slot, you get more powerful healing, you just don't have a increased healing cap. So Soul's 1800 healing would still stay at 1800. Because healing has a weird way of working. It's like if you have a very, very low HP amount, it's going to heal a percentage of your HP, basically. But when you get a really high healing amount, that's where you start hitting the cap. It's real easy to hit the healing cap. But, this one, which is Huanglong, will increase character attack and an HP at the same time, so pretty much like an assault defender mix. This one's going to increase burst streak damage, which is, and character attack. Burst streak damage is pretty much the final hit after you do a burst chain. So say you get 4 bursts in a row, the final hit to that is increased. You get a full burst, the final hit to that is increased. That's what that pretty much means. Then there's ones that do ability damage and all this other type of stuff. This is the one that's going to be the interesting one, which I want to mention right now. We're going to get her pretty soon. This Phantom version of Diablos. She's going to give special attack increase. And it's pretty much like its own little part of the multiplier formula. So say you had elemental attack and you had assault, then you had vigor, then you got the special attack that works as well. Well, let's go off of this as well. So you somehow got, say you're somehow getting like monogarmer with Diablos. So you're getting like roughly 200% elemental attack. I mean, I'm getting roughly on 100% elemental attack and then getting 100% special attack, along with a grid that has like 100% assault, and then also has like a 50% in vigor. So that would pretty much be a 2 for assault, 2 for elemental attack, so 2 times 2, times a 1.5 for vigor, assuming you got the highest effect and all that, times another 2 for the special attack. So that's pretty much how the formula works. That's very, very powerful if used in the right hands. And then some buffs will also start doing that. Some Eidolons will also come in with it as well. But the biggest thing to know about these is the fact that when it comes to going for elemental attack, the best Eidolons for elemental attack usually end up being the ones where you have to match their element. Now, interesting little thing is the fact that every Kamihime and every soul has weapons they like. So it gives them an extra little stat boost of like 10% of what the weapon gives. So if a hammer is giving like say 100 HP and 2000 attack, well for that Kamihime is giving 110 HP and 2200 attack. That's what I'm getting at. Same thing with Eidolons if you match the element. So it's like a light Eidolon is giving 400 HP and 1500 attack. Then it's going to be 440 HP and 1650 attack towards that Kamihime. So yeah, when you match them, you get bonus stats. But to go even further, some Eidolons like Monogarmer, Anubis, and there's a few event ones that happen to have it with the 50% thing. they give you a flat rate, like a flat increase, and then you get a bonus increase with each Eidolon in your subslots to match the same element. So in the case of the current wind one we have right now, it would give something like 100% wind elemental. Then it will give an extra, say, 4 or 5% for each wind Eidolon that matches the slots. So if you have one in the subslots that match, you get 4%. If you have two, it's 8%. Stuff like that. Those are usually the best ones to look for elemental attack because they tend to have the highest values. You just got to play matching element. So you may or may not want to hold on to certain ones. Now, this is where I really have to kick things into because this is like damage calculation. This is confusing as fuck, even for me now. So bear with me, but I do understand the gist of it, which is why I mentioned the different things that go into it. But as I said, the little combat power display where it had that number where I had like 58,000 HP total and attack power total of everybody, your soul and your 6 slots divided by 7. Simple. But the whole thing with the display screen does not take into the whole thing with the display screen when you go to a party is that it doesn't take into account the stuff that you have from your weapons and all that. So even though it says 4,000 HP, you might have 6,000 if you have 50% defender. So yeah, simple as that. Now when you get a rank up bonus, it's going to add this to your souls. But it's going to give you a certain little amount. Well, actually, it's saying that attack power gets increased with rank ups, but I don't know if that's been on our side or not. I know it definitely gives HP, but for each rank up, you'll get like a little bit more HP and whatnot. I do believe this is to your soul and not to your Kamihime. It may change later, it may not. So keep that in mind. What ranking up can get you a lot of power behind your souls as well, or at least a lot of healing power. But here's where it really gets interesting and really tricky. Now, this is what takes into effect of how you're doing. Your damage more or less fluctuates, but it still has this basic formula here. The displayed attack power times the assault value times attribute effect, which is elemental attack. And weakness can be added to this as well. If you are weak against the enemy's damage, you're taking an extra 45% roughly in elemental attack. So yeah, keep that in mind. Then there's a special attack in its own multiplier, critical in its own multiplier, debuffs in its own multiplier because if the enemy's debuff, you're doing more damage. I don't know what the Union Guardian deduction is just yet, unfortunately. And then there's also other buff correction. This is stuff like, say, rampaging or something like that. And then the enemy's defense times some little defense correction. It's weird for that one. I don't fully understand the defense values. I just know the higher it is, the less damage you're taking. But it usually is set to 10. So at 10, there's no it's like regular amount. But we have fought some guild order enemies that have a defense value of 12. So keep that in mind. But anyways, say you have 10,000 in attack power, and then you have like times 2 for all this other stuff. So it will be 10,000 times the assault, which is times 2. So roughly about, and this is assuming you have no buffs or whatever, but the enemy's like debuffed to like 50%. So it will pretty much be 10,000 times 2, which is 2,000 for assault, times another 2, which is 40,000 by the time the elemental attack is in, times another 2 because of Vigor, which makes it 80,000, then times another 2 if a critical hit triggers, and it's like 200% or something like that. So that's 160,000. Skipping allied debuffs. I mean, skipping Union Guardian correction, but allied debuff is going to be another times 2 because 50% defense pretty much doubles damage. 50% defense down, so that's 320,000. Then times another 2 for the rampaging buff, so that's 640,000. And then the enemy defense would sip and pretty much divided by like 10 or something like that. So you're dealing about 64,000 damage, basically. That's what this formula is more or less getting. Now, if you really break it down, you'll understand it more, but like I said, I don't fully understand it. And there's a lot of things that are still getting verified. So keep that in mind. And there's also a buff limit too on how you can sip and increase stuff. So keep that in mind. It's weird when you go into some really, really full stuff. And then add it on even further. Apparently burst damage, it has a multiplier based on the rarity of the character or the soul or whatever weapon. But say all that was done and you have a Kamihime that did it with a 5 times multiplier because they're SSR, then that 640,000 would get multiplied by 5 before they kick in the defense. So yeah, it's in its own multiplier. That took a while to go through, but yeah, that's pretty much how they did that. And then burst streak damage is weird. Burst streak damage is even weirder when it comes to that. That's that final hit that pops up. So yeah, but if you want to understand the simpler stuff, just know that assault own frame, elemental attack its own frame, vigor it's in its own frame, special attack is in its own frame, critical it's in its own frame. Most of these different things are in its own frame. Keep that in mind. The only thing that really doesn't seem to be that way is pride going into it as well. So pride will go into assault. Now, and this is where it's going to get very, very interesting as well. You can get accessories from the Accessory Quest. And you can also get the Cavises in order to increase the amount you get. So, here's the thing. All the Kamihime start off with 3 slots. You can find many, many different effects. Many different effects. But I will simply go over all these and try to more or less sum them up. Now, there is offensive power increase, where it's attack increased by X amount. That's added to your assault value. And there is an upper limit of 40% with that. So keep that in mind. So to be quite honest, all the people that's trying to be so try hard and get like, oh, I want triple assault on every single accessory. Yeah, there's a limit. Because according to this, the most you'll get per each identification is 5. So you get a grand total of 15. Guess what that really adds up to? That is 75%. About half of that's not even factored in. You can't always go with straight attack power, so keep that in mind when you're going for your accessories. Same thing if you want to go defense happy, because it'll be added to your defense buff or whatever. But to be quite honest, defense is kind of weird because I noticed that there's defense and then there's like a raw damage cut. So, and that'll be back down here. Defense and damage cuts are in their own separate frames, but keep in mind, if you're using them both, it generally decreases the damage you take by a lot. It can indeed nullify damage if you have enough of them, so keep that in mind. HP is added to Defender, self-explanatory. Ability damage, again, self-explanatory as well. It's just added to the ability damage magnification. This doesn't increase the cap. Apparently burst damage doesn't either. Now, Burst Gauge Rise, that's an interesting one. It increases the amount of how many points you get for when you do your attacks and whatnot. I haven't seen this yet, so I don't think we get this on the normal and ancient accessories, but it could be there. Actually, yes, it does mark that it's on the ancient one, so there you go. So you got to keep that in mind. Some of these are marked where it comes from. Then mode gauge decrease. It just helps you speed up the raging meter drain. It's probably the dud skill out of all of these because it has little to very new. It has very, very, very little use. Period. Point blank. So if you ever see mode gauge decrease, you probably don't want it. And even if you did want it, there's usually Kamihime to come with better skills and stuff. Double attack and triple attack, self-explanatory. They're very good. Now it says this status anomaly rate. I think this adds directly to the chance you can debuff. If I'm right, it will turn a 60% chance into 61% and 62% or something directly like that. But I still could be wrong. This is good for those who have either quite a lot of debuffs or have a powerful debuff that will lead to other things. I currently have one of these on Tsukiyomi, and I do believe I have another one on Tiara. So it can help you out, but you'll just never know when. And it's also got a hard cap too. Apparently the triple attack's got a hard cap of 10% as well. That sucks. But yeah. But there's no hard cap on double attack. That's amazing. But then you have Abnormality Tolerance, which is pretty much your resistance towards status effects. Self-explanatory. Recovery Performance. This adds to Ascension. It increases the amount of recovery, but also increases the recovery cap. I have this on Soul. It's very nice. But keep in mind that regeneration will only apply to that character. So if I had this on Bellabog, it would only make her heal herself more. It wouldn't heal others more. And same thing for the regen fact when it comes to Awakened Souls heal. It will increase the flat heal. So say that 1800 heal, it will now be like 1900 or something like that. But also her regen at the end will still only give 250 to everybody else. It'll give her like 375 to herself, something like that. That's the best way to explain it. Item drop rate, self-explanatory. Thing that sucks about this is the fact that it never increases. You're always stuck at a 1%, and you only get 5% max. So I don't know if it's between each Kamihime or not. If it is, that makes it a lot better because that's a 20% increase. And I don't know if it directly is it. Like say the item drop is going to be a 10% chance and then that drop rate increase will be 11%. I don't know if it'll do that or if that 10% be like a 10.1%. So either way it can help if you really grindy. But there's others that will happen to be here too, where you get all that same type of stuff. Counterattack seems like it's added to Pride. So that's something to know. And then it says temporary attack probability. My guess is that this is going to work a little bit like the critical thing, only in a weird thing. But these are all double effects. This is going to be stuff that we'll get later down the line when we get Accessory Quest level rank 6. So rank 7. So yeah. But it'll start giving us evasion access and all that too. So attacks might be missing at that point. If you have no evasion, you're going to always get hit. So yeah. But this is stuff that's for another table. But a quick little glance, this is going to show how much EXP you need for certain things. How much EXP you can get off of some stuff. You can check it out yourself, but I'm going to do a video on that later down the line. But anyways, there's one more thing I really have to point out, and that's these raids right here. Now, everybody knows about the disasters. You're going to start off from that. They will give you the materials to go into the catastrophes. And I do believe the Catastrophes give you the materials to go into the Guardian Angels when we eventually get them. But they give a general recommendation for these. Your power number should be about 10,000, depending on your equipment. And then it should be between 13 to 20,000 when you try to go for expert. So that's something to know. Catastrophe, my personal suggestion is you want an attack power rating of about 35 to 40,000. Yeah, they say 45 to 50,000 if you want to be honest, but again, it still depends on your equipment and whatnot. And Ragnarok is just woo. It's like you can beat it in solo, but it takes a long time. Keep that in mind. It might very well be possible for me to use my light team to beat the fire one solo. It might very well be possible. But there's a lot of crap that goes down. I mean, look at all these triggers. And that's not even including the enemy burst from the main one. So, yeah. Yeah. But I can tell you right now, when it comes to the current ones we do have, the best way to handle the fire one, kill the fire boss first and not her lackeys. And then when it comes to the ice one, kill her lackey first. And then the boss. There's your hint. But they all have some high status resistances too at this point, so yeah, it can be very difficult. But I generally could say this: in order to do the disaster fights, you don't need anything but the AP and then a high enough rank. So there you go. To do an ultimate catastrophe fight, you're going to need some drops that you get from the disasters. It's like they both get two specific drops unique to that boss, and then it's the more rare one, but Gacha might still throw it your way anyways. And you need like 3 of those to go into ultimate. Now, ultimate is where you can start getting regalias to get the soul weapons. You also need those regalias to open up the Ragnarok fights. And the Ragnarok ones give you the Magna Cavises and all that type of stuff. Eventually, I will go into more detail when this happens, but we're going to get the Guardian Angels. And they also have Eidolons we can equip as well. But these are going to be much, 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 much more difficult. And they're still possible to solo with the right teams. So, yeah. But I don't know what's going to happen, how you unlock them and all that type of stuff. Just know, this is a fire one. And it's got 230 million HP. Yeah. Good luck. But, the Accessory Quest is going to be the last one. Because these are going to be the other interesting ones. The materials you might need to go into don't alternate. But, yeah. But generally, you'll want to be like this. There's ratings where you can sit up and do stuff for the advent events. You want to be able to clear expert on the advent events before you even try these accessory quests. Because rank 1 feels like an expert. Like rank 1 feels like an expert. Rank 2 feels like ultimate when you go into the admin fights. Rank 3 feels like Ragnarok. And rank 4 feels harder than Ragnarok. If you are capable of taking on the catastrophe fights in a group and surviving pretty well, like say, I would say roughly about 40% of its HP, then you should be able to do the 4th layer accessory quest. When you're able to solo those, you should definitely be able to do the rank 5. But then there's going to be harder ones, which is rank 6 and rank 7. Keep in mind, rank 1 through 4, you have a chance of getting some stuff. You will get an initial ring and all that, but you have a chance of getting some stuff. They will change it later to where you will get a guaranteed SSR drop from the 4th one. But we don't get that just yet. And the thing is, it's just going to give you normal accessories. No ancient or anything like that. And when it comes to the rank 5, there's always an SSR drop, but it will have a chance of being ancient, and ancient tends to be better. Now, why am I mentioning normal and ancient? Well, there's something to go with that. Now, this is the last thing I'm truly going to show. Series effects. This is what's going to happen with these. When you eventually get all 5 slots unlocked, you don't even have to have all of them equipped from what I've heard. When you eventually go into those Ragnarok fights and get all 5 slots unlocked, you can start getting these effects. You have to have 3 of the same accessory to do this. And the more quote-unquote unique the type, the more priority it has when it comes to the unique effects. So that's what's going to happen with that. We have, when you equip 3 earrings, you start off with 30 burst gauge at the start of the fight. This could be good, but I'm not fully sure about that one. I mean, it has some uses in a burst setup, but yeah. But there's a better one for burst later down the line. Bracelet. 5% chance of evading normal attacks. What this is like a 5% evasion. It's trash, to be quite honest. It's not worth trying to get 3 bracelets. Tiara. This is the one that a lot of people go hunt down because this will increase your combo rate. It will give you a 15% increased chance of doing 2 hits in the normal attack combo, and 3 hits, also by 15%. Yes. Now, if you still also want to be in a gambling mood, 3 necklaces can also give you a 10% chance to deal 1.35 times the damage. This is a critical, pretty much. So it's like a stinger. So keep that in mind. And stinger is in its own multiplier, but it usually only applies to normal hits. The brooch pretty much acts like an attract ability, where it'll make you get targeted more. This could indeed be a better for the more defensive Kamihime, but I really wouldn't go too far for it. And then the ring is a probability down, so yeah. So that's for the ones you want to avoid getting hit. But the brooch and the ring are kind of crap too, so is a bracelet. The tiara is the one to aim for, and if not the tiara, probably the necklace. Because the tiara can more or less do what the earrings have, only it's permanent. So, but when we go into the unique effects, if you have 3 normal, you will be guaranteed regen at the start of the fight for 10 turns, but it can be overwritten. And to be quite honest, that's like 3,500 HP recovery, say, supposedly if you get hit every turn enough to do that. But Ancient blocks 1 debuff, period. And it doesn't overlap with other prevention abilities, so say you come in with that effect and then you also use somebody like, say, arrows who can do it, then that's 2 bad statuses blocked, 2 debuffs blocked off you, period. Now, Devil's going to be an interesting one if you're trying to go for burst setups, because it's going to give you enthusiasm. So, once a turn for 10 turns, at the start of the fight, you'll be granted enthusiasm, meaning that it will give you an extra 10 to your burst gauge. However, it's going to deal 666 damage. That's what enthusiasm does as a buff, so keep that in mind. So honestly, if you can get the TR in Devil sets, you will be set up for a very good burst combo. Or even earrings in Devil if you really want to go for a short-term type thing. But TR is definitely the best investment, hands down. And of course, you get all that stuff from the Accessory Quest and whatnot. You get the Cavises from the Ragnarok Catastrophe, so keep that in mind. But anyways, that's all for this. This has been a long video, and I'm getting kind of tired of talking. Like I said, more is just going to come soon because I got to go over the accessories and all that. But anyways, it's been an hour, so I'm done with this. So that's all for now, guys. More Kamihime project coming soon, and take care.